All right, you are listening to the Rye Bread and Mustard, that down on the docks on the other side of the tracks dive bar 5-star podcast of and about the Seattle Mariners that you are getting wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. And again, yes, thank you for liking, subscribing, and all that stuff. It really helps us out. If you need to get this Rye Bread and Mustard gear because you want the street cred for being down with the Rye Bread, hit up at simply.cora. That's at simply.cora. You can actually DM her on Instagram. She'll take care of you, or you can go check out her Etsy store. Anyways, we're down here in Colorado at the Jasper Towers at the Mint House, right across about a quarter mile, but we can look right into Coors Field. We're talking about what happened here in this 3-game series, from the snow to the blowouts to blowing the second game, the first game of the doubleheader. I know it's confusing. We're breaking it all down. We're going to get to it right after this.
Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdom.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdom.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm kind of worn out. And like you said, on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah, we are staying over on the other side of the track. We also got the Ninja down here somewhere on the premises.
Yeah, it was a great time. Love
Yeah.
Denver. Good first impression.
Yeah. I gotta say, this weekend we'll get right into this Mariners series here in a couple of minutes, but I'd be remiss if we didn't mention that we've had every single season since we've touched down here in Denver, right, Hanno?
Yeah, landing late night on Friday, snowstorm. You and I wanted to go see the stadium in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Blizzard style, I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a good time. It started off great on Friday.
We have all that stuff on our social medias, but it was pretty awesome. I don't know when I'm going to get another chance to see a stadium like that during baseball season that's covered in snow. And even the game on Saturday, we weren't sure if that thing was going to get played. What was that experience like for you guys?
Yeah, really cool. I mean, with that snowstorm, we were able to catch the first game of the series. We weren't planning on it, but to see the whole series, and yeah, it's snowing. We were up in the right field party deck and watching the snow come down. Julio, Class A, bundled up in their, not scarves, but scullies, I mean, it was cold, but it was fun to watch a game like that.
That was probably the first snow game I've ever, I can't remember even being a part of one or seeing another one. That was a crazy part of that game.
Yeah, my only time being a part of a snow game was many years ago back in Seattle. Opening day happened to snow, but with the roof, it didn't, obviously didn't snow inside, but it was cool to see. But yeah, that's the only other time I've been a part of a game like that, and probably never again.
Nice to see Luis Castillo totally redeem himself in cold weather.
Oh yeah, I mean, this whole cold weather talk, it couldn't have got any colder. I mean, that was miserable conditions. Miserable. We were we were at the Silver Bullet party terrace for that game up top. We also went around the entire stadium. What do you think was your favorite part of Coors Field?
I really don't have one, but I do really like the park. It's very much a lot like Safeco Field, and I'm sure a lot of people have said that before, but it's beautiful. The brick on the outside and the inside's amazing too. I really, really enjoy that park.
Yeah, I'd say the brewery inside the park. They have the Coors Field brewery inside there where they had some IPAs and different types of beer that I discovered. So most part of the ballpark was all like Coors Light and, like that. But if you go to
Very on brand.
To the down the first base line was the Coors Brewery, like that.
I think for me, my favorite part was going all the way up to the top deck. I mean, you're above the mile high line that they have, and I mean the view up there is unreal. The only thing that's missing there is maybe a body of water, just because I'm biased and I like to have a body of water. But the mountainsides are pretty cool. The downtown is really cool. Lots of old brick buildings down there that have been refurbished. A lot of establishments. They really like the rooftop thing here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's most of the establishments do have a rooftop. I mean, it's fun, great scene. Seattle definitely could do something like this. Maybe not to the, expansive length it is here with a lot of our area down south of Soto being a little bit industrial, but they do it right down here. It's a lot of fun. If you get a chance, this is definitely a place I would suggest to go watch the Mariners play again at.
Yeah, and if you like not seeing graffiti and a lot of the elements that you might see in Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Portland, the downtown is very, very clean, like extremely clean. And not just because it snowed when we got here and everything melted away and washed away. It's just there's not stickers, like we have our rye bread and mustard stickers. I think I only put 2 stickers out because there was only 2 spots that I saw downtown that had stickers. Unlike Seattle, you get the stickers are everywhere.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, the graffiti is not here.
Yeah, and I also want to say if another favorite thing that there was this weekend was how many Mariners fans were here. And I mean, people that most of the people we met were, living here in Denver. Maybe they were from Seattle or had family from Seattle, but there was a lot of Denver people. And what makes me feel really good, a lot of the people when we, would run into people with our rye bread stuff, a lot of people would way more than any other place I've been, including Seattle, come up and go, "Hey, we listened to that show or we watched that." And so that was fun. What do you think about the reaction that you got from Mariners fans here?
Yeah, really cool. And like you said, it's nice to know that people are out checking us out and listening. It makes us feel good. So thank you. Yeah, why don't you tell us about the guy we saw wearing a Caballero City Connect
Yes.
jersey?
I was going to say that there's a lot of people in random jerseys, especially on the road, because maybe they just, I don't know. You do get a lot of people that are here just to support their roots. Maybe they're from Seattle. So you see a lot of, Ackley jerseys, D. Gordon jerseys. We also saw what was the guy, Jeremy Lamb jersey, Winker jerseys, Sasaki jerseys. But yes, the Caballero one was very interesting because Caballero was on the call up last year, and this guy had it looked like a really done up, authentic City Connect jersey. And we kept running into him, and I finally had to ask him. I said, "Hey, what was it about Caballero that made you invest so hard and to go and get a jersey made?" And he was like, "Well, it's an interesting story. It's not what you'd think. Actually, my friend works for this jersey company, and he promised he would get me a Mariners City Connect jersey for the game." So I gave him a list of the players that I'd want: Castillo, Kirby, Julio, JP. Gave us a list, and he couldn't get any of them, but he showed up with a Caballero jersey. So that's just what he had to rock at the game. And by God, this guy rocked it all weekend. But anyways, let's get into the games. Let's take a break really quick and come back, and let's talk about the series, get down to business.
I don't know what it is, Dr. Bonella. My life just isn't going the way I'd planned it. Every time I turn a corner, there's some sort of...
Whine. I've had it with your excuses.
Yeah.
You're acting like a loser.
But
you want therapy?
Yeah.
I'll give you therapy. Get off your duff, get out of here, and make something happen. Do I make myself clear?
Aren't you glad he decided to manage the Mariners instead?
Next.
Pinella has erupted. He's gone out to home plate.
Okay, so game 1, 7-0. Big takeaway for me was like you mentioned here, Ninja, Luis Castillo. He has this stigma that he can't pitch in cold weather. Went against some real tough elements. Gave up no runs in 7 innings of work.
La Piedra.
Yeah. So what'd you guys see from him? What'd you like about his performance?
Honestly, I wasn't watching it on TV, so I couldn't tell how close he was hitting the zone and stuff. But anytime you're holding a major league team to zeros, that's a step in the right direction for him. It's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we were far away, but you could tell that he wasn't giving up very much hard contact. Because one thing I did notice being at the stadium, and maybe it's because I haven't been in a game in a while, or just the way the stadium's configured, and I don't hear it train like I do at T-Mobile, but if a ball's hit really well, you can hear that explosion off the bat. So yeah, there wasn't much hard contact, and he was on his game. Really nice to see after kind of not having the rock style starts early on in the season that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, that the 7 innings, 2 hits, only 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. It's got to feel good for him. I know he was running the stairs, getting his legs worked in today here at Coors Field. Yeah, I think this is a big turnaround, and it's an add-on from the start before.
Absolutely. One thing I just want to mention about this first game too is how the field was completely covered in snow from the day before, and how they turned it around, and you would not even known it had snowed there. The field looked magically just perfect.
And what was kind of cool though, there was little piles of snow throughout the stadium on things that actually gave it this like aesthetic look of like we're in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember on Friday talking about, I wonder if they're going to need to call in Bill's Mafia to clean out the seats and everything. But yeah,
you said it was bring your shovel for your seat game. Possibly we were going to see. And then I mean, this is kind of in game 1. The bullpen really wasn't a big factor, but they also kept the shutout intact. But big game for Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, both of them with 4 hits. Raleigh 4 for 4. 2 RBIs. Julio in there with 2 RBIs. Even Class A, he had a good game, 2 for 5. He almost had that in the park little league home run, got thrown right out at the plate. But I thought he had a good series too.
Yeah, really excited. First time seeing him play. Not a big man, but man, he's got some talent and some skills. His wheels are great on the base pass that we saw, and he makes good jumps and plays out the outfield really very solid. He's been a spark for this team.
Definitely been a spark. I mean, as soon as since he's been up, we've been winning games. So I mean, hard to send him down. Is it going to be?
Well, there's a bit of time before I think that's even an issue because
Urias kind of got hurt today.
Yeah. And I don't know what the update, if there isn't an update on Kenzone, but that was probably going to be a few weeks.
Yeah. Really nice to see. I mean, you can tell he's confident up there. He doesn't look rattled or overmatched. It's just really refreshing to see such a young player like that come up and, just play so well and so freely. It's good to see. He's going to help this team for sure.
Now, almost made a really good catch today and broke his belt.
Yeah. On a ball that nobody else would have any business in even trying to catch, and he almost did that. That was in game 2. But back here in game 1, I think that was probably the funnest and loudest part of that game of game 1 was when the right fielder misplayed that ball on bases loaded, and they actually got back to that ball quick and had an amazing, like that. You couldn't have had a better relay play from deep. I do have to give some roses to the Colorado Rockies because that is a fast dude to catch.
Yeah, he noticed, because we were able to see the whole field from where we were sitting in the right field party deck, how when Clase was rounding second and making his look to Manny and Garver, who was the lead runner in front of him, that he slowed up a little bit because of Garver. I definitely think that contributed to him being canned at the plate, but there was no way that Manny was going to hold him up, and he sent him, and it was a bang play to get him, but an exciting baseball play all in all.
Yeah, and I know we were up in the party. Everybody up in the party deck was calling for the replay, saying he was safe, but he was clearly out. But I mean, that was a feel-good game. Going out after the game, all the Mariners fans were really happy. It's a different feel than down at T-Mobile Park after the games, definitely here on the road.
Yeah, being a road team and being a visiting fan base is a lot of fun. It's a totally different experience. Really enjoy it, especially when they win.
Yeah, especially when they win. And the Rockies fans are easy to get along with. I mean, I go to Angels games quite a bit. You go to Oakland, those are 2 Dodgers, very territorial. San Diego, very territorial. They were pretty welcoming, I thought.
I didn't get any grief this whole week, and I've been wearing Mariner stuff here. I mean, this whole weekend, been wearing Mariner stuff all over the city, and so that's cool.
Yeah, and I'd say in this game and this game one and the final game of the doubleheader, the Mariners fans, I would say there was probably 35 to 40% of the stadium was Mariners fans.
Yeah, especially the opener of the doubleheader that had the most attendance of the whole series. I mean, 30,000, I think they said was the announced crowd. And I bet you it seemed like a third of it was Mariner fans.
Yeah. And that 30,000, I kind of felt like these were fake WWE numbers. There's 70,000 jam packed in here. And there's there's 35, but that was a great game. Great feeling. That game had us thinking man, tomorrow's game, we got Kirby on the mound. This is the way the Mariners are hitting and hit in the last series. They're in, the ballpark that you think of lots of runs, lots of scoring, but man, the dimensions there are huge.
Yeah, being up top and really seeing the outfield, you're exactly right. Deep and left, deep and right, the way it jots out to center field instead of kind of rounds like T-Mobile. 415 in the power alley and dead center. I mean, it is a massive outfield and a lot of room for the outfielders to cover.
JP took one deep, almost got it out of there like that in that gap.
Kept
going.
Yeah, and he hit it to the absolute deepest part of that park. But game two, really frustrating. Let's just get the shit that we're annoyed about out here right now. We saw it. Bad base running. That's what I'm going to point to. Not hitting with runners in scoring position, which they have done. And they had got a good amount of walks in this game. Let me see. Let me pull this up. I think they had
six
Ninja. They had 6 walks and 6 hits. And let's see how many were left on base here. 10 left on base. But the strikeouts were, 10 innings. They're right at their threshold of 10. But it was
1 for 9 and runners in scoring position. That was the big one.
Yeah, and we can point to a couple particular innings, but let's point to, I believe it was the top of the 7th. If I'm correct there, Hanno, we have JP on first base. Julio hits the ball in the hole there. It's going to be an infield single. JP made this, an aggressive decision, no hesitation, went to third base. First baseman, came off the bag, if I'm correct, got the ball, made the throw to third base. And let's credit their third baseman for hustling his ass back over to the bag, catching the ball and tagging JP. But it was a huge momentum changer right there, because now instead of first and second, you just have Julio on first, and then a pitch or two later, Julio goes on a move or a non-move from a pitcher and gets thrown out at second base, and that ended a rally, a possible rally right then and there.
Yeah, it's a play you don't see too often. The pitcher just kind of was, obviously in the stretch, came set, and it's like he forgot about Julio, or Julio picked up on that. Julio took off running and got down 3/4 of the way, but the pitcher was still able to step off in time and make a good throw. Julio slid in there. I think if he wouldn't have Amber Alert.
Yeah, sorry.
I think if Julio would have slid in, I've noticed before when he slides in feet first, well, he's not sliding in head first anymore since year 1 of his career because he, banged up his shoulder and they told him not to. But when he slides in feet first and straight, I mean, it's just the way he slides, but it's something I've noticed, and that play was so close. He was called out just because of that.
Yeah. And that was just a crushing feeling, because we were watching that game, and early on in the game, Hanno, you pointed out, what was it, the third or fourth inning, and what was 1 out with a runner on third, and Scott Service decided to bring the infield in, and we were going like, wow, is this going to be that close of a game that we got to do that? And it was very foreshadowing of how hard getting a run was. We also saw an inning where, again, I think we had 2 runners on to start the inning, and we had 7, 8, 9, and they just couldn't come through in the game. And again, like you said, Ninja, 9 runners in scoring position?
Yeah, to get us our run. Yeah, and we took that lead right away. Felt pretty good.
Yeah, we went 1 for 9 runners in scoring position, and JP Crawford got that hit in the 10th inning.
Yeah, and then there was no add-on on that, and we talk about that all the time. In the extra innings, you got to get that second run.
It's
Sometimes
a lot to
three.
put on Munoz. Like, okay, go out there and get it.
Sure.
A couple dinker dunkers.
Yep. What did you see with the bullpen before that, Hanno?
Yeah, I mean, even before we got to that, we had that crazy play in left field with Dylan Moore trying to make a game-saving play where they could have walked it off right there. I mean, incredible play. Stanek was pitching at that time. The Rockies batter it sounded good off the bat. I wasn't sure if it had enough. Demo was tracking it, got all the way back, got to the wall, leaped straight up. It looked like he had it from our angle, and it looked like he touched it with his glove and knocked it straight down. So we thought, oh, at least he saved the game. It's just a double for the player. And then there was a umpires challenged, and things just went wild from there.
Yeah, the fan reaction in that game was it was like so much tension going on. But we were behind the Mariners dugout for that game, and the reaction of when they finally said that there was oh man, that was such a fun experience. I've never experienced that. And at that point in the game, you know, a week ago on Sunday, we were waiting for a review of if Julio was going to get picked off or not. And we've forward to a week later, and we have not the same situation, but kind of the same kind of drama of like, well, now it's in the review's hands, to New York's hands. Have you ever been at a game where something was like that happening?
No, especially not to maybe end the game. Definitely not. But I don't know. I mean, the fan interfered just above Dylan Moore. It's hard to see from the replay from where I was at, but it looked like he would have had a shot to make it a catch, but the fan's glove was right above him. I mean, he was in perfect position. And it's also tough too, because I mean, the fan has a right to the ball too. It's not like he leaned over. At least it didn't look like that to me.
No, that's what they determined and on the replays is that the fan's like belt buckle was over the wall and he was leaning over. And then, yeah, the story has got to be Dylan Moore's defense, and he almost had another great catch right there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because he started the game off at second base and made that great play early on. I mean, he had a really nice series.
Yeah, and Dylan Moore's doing what he's supposed to do. You're not relying on him to go, hey, he's got to go 3 for 4, knock in 2 runs when he plays. It's all about the defense. It's all about, like you said, the utility, the versatility that he brings. And he doesn't have one position that you go, oh, he's a liability in the field.
I think it's been a plus so far.
Yeah.
Polanco made 2 more errors today, right? Or 1 error and then almost booted another one, you know, and he's not hitting. So who's better at second right now, Demo or Polanco? Really? I don't know, we could argue that, but you know, Dylan Moore's defense is second. He made those 2 really good plays.
Yeah, when he's put out there, you're never feeling too bad about him defensively. He's a spark on the base pass. And even though his average isn't that great, he has at times came up with some clutch hits
he's
in clutch situations. So he is a plus to have on your team. He's just not a guy you can ride game after game, or a player that you think's going to carry you for a week or something. He's just not that type of player, but he's a great asset to have to your team.
Yeah, and he's going to hit at the end of the lineup. You know, and anybody that hits at the end of the lineup, anything big from them is an absolute plus. What you really hope for is to have that on base percentage. You get him on the bases, he can run. He's smart. There's no recklessness about him. It's very like it stays within what he can do. Like he stays in with, he does what I guess the way I want to say this is he plays to his strengths a lot. And that's what I like about Dylan Moore.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when saying reckless, he's not going to cost you on the base pass. Sure, JP and Julio tried to make some aggressive moves, but Demo won't do that. He'll make sure he can get there before he makes the decision to go. And he's a smart baseball player. I mean, he doesn't have all the tools that some of these guys have, but he's a baseball player.
I mean, that ball was definitely going in Demo's glove without question. Or do you think that the guy grabbing it helped out the cause?
No, I think he would have called it the Steve Bartman play of this year. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I almost think it's more of even a play that happened many years ago at the old Yankee Stadium when the Oriole fan in right field leaned over him.
Jeffrey Mayer.
Yeah, that might have been a lot more egregious, but yeah, it's one of those plays that, cost them the game. But like we said, the ball didn't lie, maybe possibly the way the game ended up.
Yeah. If we're taking a Rasheed Wallace line of dialogue here, the ball don't lie. At this point in the series, Colorado hadn't scored in either of the games. It took Colorado 18 plus innings to get a run on the Mariners.
Yeah, they got to have a guy starting at second first. It's cheating.
Yeah, I mean, and they came into this series with a terrible run differential. I think it was like 41 or something like that, but most of those happened on the road. And with their record, I think them only having 4 wins so far in the season, you weren't expecting much from them. And I felt pretty good that the Mariners were able to, get that run in the 10th inning from the runner at second base. And it's, we've seen them struggle at times, and I felt pretty good with Munoz coming in.
Yeah, and I did too. And then just right off the bat hit. And then I believe was it an infield hit that I don't know who's to, and then I believe there was another situation where it could have been over a lot quicker, because remember that throw to first base there in extra innings. Ty France made a good dig. He made good digs this whole series. Quietly had a good series too. But yeah, it was frustrating. I know it's got to be frustrating for these pitchers to go out there and give up the 1 run really quick. But when you give up the second run, that means you gave up what you would normally do the way traditionally you play baseball. You just did not get the job done there.
Yeah, and with George Kirby on the mound, him pitching great. Ninja, we talked earlier, you had noticed that he was painting the corners throughout the game. I read after that he was having some arm soreness, which is a little concerning, but he can be okay. But man, he kept you in the game. And we get so many outings like that from our starting pitchers, and the way we've been hitting, it just was a tough one to swallow, that the Mariners could not get anything going and pull out this win against a team that they should beat. But like you said earlier, Myron, sweeps are hard to come by.
Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast.
We have the one and only Mr. Tom Hutler. Do you have any of your favorite stories from the Kingdom?
There was a time we had an earthquake, and so they were going to evacuate the building. So I was like getting up to go leave, and they go, "No, you can't go. You got to read these safety things." It's like,
do we need to tell them that there's smoking's only on the exterior ramps?
Yeah. And Dave came shooting past. He signed off. I'm going, wait, I'm the only one here.
Listen and subscribe to Rye Bread and Mustard, a Mariners podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
The only thing that, as a fan, it didn't make me so upset. Like if this happens and we have to go home, or if this is the actual last game of the series, it leaves you with a nasty taste in your mouth. We at least got to rinse that taste out of our mouths pretty quickly. And here in this game 3 of the series, this was at first a little bit scary. Hancock gives up the 2 runs, and we'd seen the way the bats had been, and you kind of look at the lineup that was out there on paper, you're like going, oh, I don't know.
Not Zebby again.
Yeah, and look, he shut our fucking mouths, man. He, I mean, at the end of the game, he's sitting there. He got the TV interview.
He almost went yard in his last at bat.
Yes. I think that was a really nice moment when he almost went yard there, and all of the Mariners were up on the railing. And when he had to round first base and come back and jog back to the dugout, they were all giving him some friendly shit. Yeah, razzing him a little bit. And I saw Scott Service look over to him and say something when he came in.
Yeah, I mean, I've been critical of him, and a lot of Mariner fans have been, but so happy for him to have a game like that, to feel like he's finally contributing to the team, have a good game, start feeling good about yourself. And yeah, he's the one who got it started, the scoring for the Mariners there in the early part of the game.
Yeah, and it opened up the traffic lanes for you to drops. It opened up some traffic lanes for you to jump on Tom Murphy and things you were seeing online, because you hadn't been able to talk any Tom Murphy smack because Zebi Zavala is not doing as well as Tom Murphy, but Tom Murphy's not doing well either.
Yeah, I guess I have a thing with backup catchers. It's just one of my
few
flaws.
I think that I feel like the tough thing about him is we know who he was traded for, just a beloved Mariner. He was traded for Eugenio Suarez, so you're just gonna kind of have that feeling about him. But that was good to see. But you could tell that there wasn't that confidence in him with at least the bat, because Cal Raleigh was DHing, or maybe just because Cal wanted to hit today and Cal was stroking in the series. But it was cool to see two catchers in the lineup. That's the first time that we've seen that this year, if you don't count Mitch Garver, who's supposed to be our DH. What do you think about that? Was that pretty surprising to see that?
Mitch Garver's supposed to be a catcher, right?
Yeah,
so that's kind of like we've been having. Anyways, yeah, Garver has been doing anything, so that's why Cal has to step in for him. Cal's supposed to have the day off.
Yeah, maybe it's not so much a Zebi thing. I'll take that back. Maybe I should take that back and go, that was more of a Mitch Garver's not doing anything and Cal Raleigh's hot, and you need this win going into Texas.
Yeah, hopefully Mitch Garver will get going. He certainly did not have a great series here that I noticed in Colorado, but I was hoping that he was going to start getting going, because he had that big home run the series before at T-Mobile before they took the road trip. But with him going back to a familiar place in Texas, I'm sure he wants to show up and show out. So hopefully he has a good series there. But yeah, he had a rough series, and it makes sense with Haniger playing in the opener of the doubleheader, him not DHing in game 2. So they really went with a lineup that went with guys that hadn't played at all, haven't played at all this whole series. And then Urias gets a chance to play. He gets banged up. He gets hit by a pitch. Rojas comes in, who had a nice series. He showed some good stuff this series. So next man up mentality. And Luke Raley, who hasn't played in a long time, kind of has gotten passed over for Clase, it seems like, or they're going with him quite a bit. Looked good in right field for the most part and hit the ball hard and had a few hits in his first appearance of the series. So it's nice to see him going too.
Yeah, and JP, 2 hits in this game, 3 RBIs, good base running too that we saw after the aggressive move that he made in the other game.
Yeah, I could totally see why he was challenging and trying to go. It was such a rally killer, and he was trying to make something happen. The bats weren't going in that game, and it was a bummer that he got called out, because I think he thought, and the way the play developed, it looked like he would make it there easily. But like you mentioned, third baseman did a great job of getting back and a straight throw to third.
Yeah, and look, in this game too, let's give some roses. Let's give some props to Hancock. Kind of started off rocky, still pitched his 6 innings, 3 strikes when he had the lead, only had 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. What'd you see with Hancock, and what'd you like?
You said game 2.
Oh, sorry, game 2 of today. So
okay.
game, yeah, it's confusing, folks.
For all of
it's confusing. Look, the tickets were like that too. They were giving, when you got the tickets, it said game 1 of the series. So anyways, if you've fallen asleep or zoned us out, we were talking about the 3rd game of the series, the 2nd game of the doubleheader.
But he went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs after a shaky start. He had another quality start for the Mariners. It's 8 of 9 now. That's. And
only 1 of those runs is earned. His ERA, if you look at it now, still over 6, but that's from when he got his ass blown up.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to continue to give roses to the Mariner bullpen too. Coming into this series, haven't gave up. It's a crazy amount of innings that they haven't given up a run. Sure, Munoz had the stumble there throughout the series in the opener of the doubleheader, but man, Stanek pitched a couple innings, and the rest of the guys, Spire, Sauce, all of them contributed, and with a big blowout victory like we had in the final game of the series, we were able to get some guys out that don't throw as much. The 27th man on the roster, who they called up for the doubleheader, threw an inning for his vote. Everybody pitched and pitched well.
Yeah, and another person that you didn't hear much from or get too much from in this series is Mitch Haniger. He's been carrying the team until now. So it was great to see Cal Raleigh, though, take over another team, just like he takes over the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, that home run he hit in the final game to dead center. I mean, that ball was a line drive that he just smoked. It was an impressive home run because it was a line drive. It was crushed.
Yeah, and he went from having no home runs, not much offense to show a week or two ago. I know the season's not been going on that long, but you look at him now, 5 home runs, only 11 RBIs, gets a lot of solo shots, but the average is at 258 and the OPS is 827.
And he's behind the plate for every day. I just can't say enough about how much that matters. He's just a leader, the rock of this team. Just a huge fan, so I'm always going to praise Cal.
I feel like he's the most underrated catcher in
Sign
all
him,
of
right?
MLB.
Wow.
You know, like
he's got to be like one of our most important guys to sign.
Oh yeah, you got to lock him up. You got to lock him up. He's easily the MVP of this series for me. Yeah.
That was his first 4-hit game of his career. In the first game.
Yeah.
And then
every time he got up to the plate this series, there was also some cuts or foul balls and things like that where you're like, this guy's just locked in the fucking zone.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Good series for the Mariners. Good trip for us, boys club trip. I mean, first time I've been a part of a doubleheader, seen one. How about you guys?
We saw a pointless doubleheader. Here's a fun stat. The Ninja and I and Carl Tart have now been to 2 doubleheaders all together. We went to the doubleheader in 2023. It was Detroit Tigers at T-Mobile Park. Had absolutely no energy. There was no the playoffs were already clinched up. It was just a cold, miserable day. Here it was cold. It was fun, but these games mean a lot. And look, they needed to take advantage of winning this series. It's too bad they couldn't get 3, but they also had a lot of, I don't know. They just kind of, here's what I want to say. I know that they didn't win the series, but they at least bounced back right after a loss. And that's important, staying out of these big losing streaks, to pull themselves up. They're playing 500 right now. I know that we said that we wanted to see them a couple games over 500 going into Texas, but they're only a half game away from Texas. So I'll take it for right now. And it seems like they're playing overall better baseball right now as a team.
Yeah, they are playing better balls. Certainly they're having some miscues here and there that we need to clean up, but for the most part, it's improved quite a bit and they're going in the right direction, it looks like.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Ninja?
They're definitely not in midseason form, but that's like why they call it midseason form.
Right.
But going in the right direction. The stat that I saw that I like to see was like the Mariners are up there close to the Dodgers with hard hit rate and chase rate. You get those two together. Those are 2 things we're doing really good right now, and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, and in this upcoming series, we got Gilbert going. We got Miller going, and we got Castillo going. With the postponement the other day, it's going to kind of make the rotation of the order a little bit different, I believe, at least for the immediate future. It's going to go, once you get back to the top of the order, it's probably going to be Castillo, then Kirby, but then I think it's going to be Hancock or whoever's in that 5th spot, and then you get back to Logan and Miller, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, and speaking of that 5th spot, just some news and notes. Saw that Wu pitched today, his first rehab assignment for the Rainiers down in Nevada. I read the stats, but he didn't give up any runs or hits, a few Ks. So that's good to see. And also Matt Brash, they said he's going to be ready to go out on a rehab assignment after one more time pitching down in Peoria. Didn't hear anything on Santos yet, but hearing that those 2 guys are getting ready to be back is positive news for the Mariners.
Yeah, and I know Julio did not get a home run. I thought for sure he'd get one down here finally in Coors Field. It didn't happen, but guess what? Outside of game 2, the rest of the series, it really wasn't needed. But if it comes in this Texas series, especially in a big spot, I'm going to be really, really excited. I think everybody in Mariner land is going to be excited. And I think once he gets that one, we're going to see a bunch of them.
He hits pretty well in Texas, so hopefully this will be a series where he gets going with the power.
Yep. Well, anyways, thanks for liking, subscribing. I know we're tired, we're worn out, but we wanted to get this episode in. I know the Mariners have a day off today when you're listening to this, but again, want to thank everybody we met down here at Coors Field. We had a really, really fun time. I suggest too, if you ever come here, just pay the little bit of extra money to stay by the stadium like we did. It was well worth it.
Yeah, it really worked out for us. I mean, it was great to be able to every day walk to and from the game. You mentioned the split doubleheader. We were able to come back to the place we were staying between games. There was a 2-hour break. So we were able to come back, relax for a few minutes, recharge, and walk right back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was everything worked out perfectly.
I got that Nelly Cruz power nap before that game too, so that really worked out. Anything else to add, Ninja?
Woo pitched 3 innings, no hits, no earned runs, struck out 5.
Oof. If they get these bats together, the Mariners are going to be looking pretty nasty for the rest of the season.
Looks like he'll probably get another re-up start.
Yeah,
or start getting his innings up.
Yeah, and I feel like there's no reason to rush any of these guys back right now. If the Mariners hit the ball, the pitching's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, as advertised.
So we'll see what happens down in Texas. We'll be back to talk about that. That episode will drop on Thursday night on YouTube and be out Friday morning before they head back to Seattle, I believe, after they head to Texas. I think they come back and play Arizona. But the next 3 series, you got the Atlanta Braves, and you got the 2 teams that were in the World Series last year. Atlanta's got a hot start, not looking too far ahead, and we got Texas, who we need to, win the head-to-head matchup this season. And Arizona's playing just like we are, about some 500 ball, but they, we've had a tough time with them. So it's gonna be interesting 9 days here. I want to say if we get through this 9 game stretch here, I should say at 5-4, I'll be very pleased.
Yeah. The goal is to win series, but yeah, just staying above 500, playing these quality teams would be a good stretch for the Mariners.
I believe it. I think that's a good one to end on. With that being said, again, thanks for liking, subscribing, and all that good shit. Hannah, before we get to bed and get on out of here, you know what time it is. Ciao.